the belief is that the body has this storehouse of this energy. And there's three different areas in the body where the energy is storehouse, but the main one is three fingers below the belly button and under, deep into the below the belly button. And I always say, so that's the storehouse. It's called the dantian area, dantian, which means storehouse of energy. And if you think about three fingers below the belly button, that would be like the middle of your body, just right the center. But I like to always teach the practicality. So if you think about three fingers below and deep under the belly button, what would be a major organ that is in that area?
Bladder. Bladder.
Bladder.
A stomach.
Intestines.
The intestines.
Yeah,
The intestines, yes. Small intestines for females, that would be your uterus, will be in that area. So imagine the intestines, the small intestines, that's where the process of your food, it happens right in the small intestine. The intestines are moving constantly, having that peristalsis, which is constantly contracting and relaxing, moving the food that you eat from, through the process. And it is in the small intestines where you absorb all the nutrients of the food and you use it for energy, So it uses a lot of energy to be able to process the food. So when we do the breathing, what we call Dantian breathing, it is part of Tai Chi. When you do the forms of Tai Chi or the movements, you pair with the breathing. And that, between those very slow flowing movements, pair with the breathing, is what is going to help you to induce the relaxation. So what is Dantian breathing? In American medical terms, is what we call diaphragmatic breathing. And the difference is that when you breathe in right now, when we breathe, normally we are breathing, our chest rises when you breathe in, and when you breathe out, your chest, deplete the lungs. With the Dantian breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, what happens is that the diaphragm is that muscle that is right like a shape, like a dome shape, right below your rib cage. And when you press down that muscle, what you're doing is you're increasing your lung capacity. But when you press it down, when you breathe in, your belly gets big, and when you breathe out, your belly gets deflated. So it don't look almost like when you're breathing, you are actually inflating your belly with air, and you depletes. But in reality, when you're breathing, your air doesn't go to your stomach. It goes to your lungs. But when you press that muscle down, you're increasing that lung capacity. Your lungs get the chance to kind of inflate bigger. They're like balloons, So, but when you are doing that, actually what you're doing is you're slowing down your breathing. And that will send a signal to the brain automatically to, relaxation. It induces relaxation. And so to understand how it works, because it works like a charm, I always say, think about the fight or flight response, which is the opposite. So imagine that you're walking, like, let's say on the roofs, and you're just enjoying the beautiful view and the scene and the birds singing and all everything. And then suddenly you hear, I don't know, a bear coming to attack you. What is the first response? What happened when that happened? Immediately. Exactly. You go, and then what happened? What happened physiologically on your body?
The heart accelerates.
Your heart starts beating exactly like crazy, very, very fast. And what it's doing is pumping all of those the circulation that you need to go to your muscles, because guess what? part of life. You have to run for your life. It's a survival response, you know. And when you have acute stress, like in that case, you become superwoman or superman running for your life, maybe jumping very high fence. That's something you never thought you would do. Um, but that is survival. So that's acute stress, and it's great because you need that for survival. But what happens when we have the chronic stress? That is not a bear coming to get you, but it is stress at work. It can be stress at school. You have to do these projects. You got things going on. Relationship problem, whatever it is, and it's causing stress. And over time, if you don't manage that stress, that's when people start becoming, having stress can lead to health issues. And so it's important that we learn how to manage that stress. And how we can do it, something that is very simple and very easy, is through breathing. So if you are experiencing a stressful situation, whether it can be work related, it can be relationship related, it can be, hey, you're driving to work and suddenly you're stuck in traffic, and now you oh my goodness, I gotta be there, running late. There's nothing you can do, but stress can easily, cause a lot of problems. So instead of that, you can use these techniques to kind of de-stress you. So we're gonna try Dantian breathing first, so you have that experience, and then you can use it. I don't know, somebody asked earlier something about working out the muscles on your uh, abdominal muscles. I say I use it sometimes. Not that you're gonna use it for that, but I actually use it sometimes to actually work out my muscles, doing what we call isometric exercise, so I can strengthen my belly muscles without doing all the curl ups and things like that, and I can strengthen them as well. So what I want you to do is go ahead and put one hand, or you can put one hand on your chest and one in your belly muscle. And so when you do Dantian breathing, what I want you to do is when you breathe in, imagine you're sticking your belly out. So you should feel that the belly is pushing the hand in here. If you feel that your chest is rising, you're doing regular breathing. So breathe in, your belly stick out, and you breathe out, your belly goes down. And when you're actually doing Dantian breathing, you should not be forceful. I am actually doing it a little more so you can see what is happening on my belly. However, when you do it, should be normal, just a normal way to breathe, gentle breathing in and out, except you're pushing your diaphragm, making your belly big, and you breathe out, your belly goes down. You should not see your chest rising. It should be here. Now, how you do it, if you have a little stuffed animal laying around in the house, you can lay down, put that stuffed animal on top of your belly, and when you breathe in, you should be lifting that stuffed animal, and when you breathe out, you should be going down. If you don't have a stuffed animal, you can get socks, put them together, make a little ball with your socks, and then you can put it there, and that's a way to practice. So you should be on the belly like this, and breathe out. So you should not feel it right here, that your chest rising, should be in your belly. So again, what you're doing is pressing your diaphragm down to increase lung capacity. So, did you get it?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very good. It takes time because that's comfort. We are not breathing that way, so it takes time But when you get it, it is not only you're increasing your lung capacity, but also uh, it helps you to relax. So people that are swimmers, that they can divers, that's how they increase their lung capacity. They can spend a lot of minutes down under the water because they have increased that lung capacity and they have oxygenated their body to be able to dive in the ocean and stay down there. Like I could not do that, and they can stay for many minutes. So the other one that I want to show you is mindfulness breathing. And this one is much easier because you're not going to be doing Dantian breathing. So who knows what is mindfulness? What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
Focus.
Focus?
And
Yes.
it's like a purposeful, like intentional way to breathe.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Mindfulness means being in the present moment, like focus, intention. Is knowing what is happening, when it's happening, without judgment. So when you live in the present moment, it's like you say, focus with intention. It helps a lot. You know how our brain sometimes is rising, racing and everything else, keep you away from what the task that you're doing. So with mindfulness breathing, what you do is you're gonna be doing slowing down the breathing, and as you breathe in, you breathe in and out, you're focusing on the breathing. And obviously, mindfulness doesn't mean that your mind is completely blank. That doesn't mean. For example, if I'm doing mindfulness breathing right now, and then I have a thought that, oh boy, I forgot, I gotta pay that bill tomorrow, or whatever it is, a thought that comes to my mind. Mindfulness means that I acknowledge the thought at the moment, but I can put it aside, and then I can continue focusing on what I'm doing at at hand at the moment. So I'm gonna teach you one that is very powerful. It can help you to distress you at the moment that you have that stress. And the one that I like, the one that for me I feel like is more effective, is the 4-7-8 breathing. So what you're doing is you're gonna breathe in a count to 4. You're gonna hold it in a count to 7, and you breathe out in a count to 8. Now, when I say count, I'm not saying seconds. In your head, you can just count 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna practice now. What I want you to do is practice. I'm just gonna count the first one and then the other ones. Do about 5 cycles. And as you're doing this, you can close your eyes and focus on the breathing, okay? And stay in the present moment. So let's go ahead and close your eyes. You're gonna breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. And do about 4 cycles for your own. And when you're ready, Go back to your normal breathing. Then you can open your eyes when you're breathing.
Thank you so much.
How was that for you?
For a while, at the beginning when I was doing it, I realized I was breathing with my chest and I tried to combine it with dancing breathing, but that was sort of difficult to combine.
Yeah, so with 478, you do your normal breathing,
Okay.
not the Dantian breathing. So that's two different ones. So with just normal breathing is that you hold it for, you breathing four count, hold it 7 and breathe out. Now some people say, oh, I cannot hold it 7 count. That's too long. So if that's one of you feel like it's a little too long for you, you can do what we call box breathing. So instead of doing 4-7-8, you can do 4-4-4. Breathe in the count of 4, hold it in the count of 4, breathe out in the count of 4. And you keep doing that, and that's why it's called box breathing, because it's like a box, perfect count. And then you can build up to make it to the 4-7-8. The longer you hold it and breathe out, the more you're sending that signal to the brain that it says, everything is okay, there's no lion coming to catch you, and you can distress you at that moment. So it is very effective. Like some people have insomnia at night, they're having a hard time falling to sleep because they have a lot of racing thoughts. You can use this as a tool to kind of being present in the moment, kind of feeling your chest rising, and when you are exhaling, you can, you're laying down to sleep in the night, you can imagine yourself melting, your body melting into your mattress every time you exhale, and focus on your body, and eventually you're shutting down the thoughts, and then you will be able to fall to sleep. It's very effective. I can lay down, and because I have done this for years, I can go to bed and I can fall to sleep like very, very quick. My husband said, I cannot believe it. How can you do that? And so, well, you practice. And sometimes in the middle of the night, I may wake up and then I may be thinking about something. And then I start doing the mindfulness breathing, and then I can fall to sleep.
Is it ideal to be breathing with your diaphragm all the time, or?
No. The mindfulness breathing, you don't do the diaphragm. It's just your normal breathing. Just your normal breathing, except that you are slowing down the breathing. The Dantian breathing is when you do yoga, you do it. And at the beginning, most people cannot pair Dantian breathing with Tai Chi, with the movements. It makes it a little hard, and it takes a lot of practice to get to that point. So I tell people, when you're doing Tai Chi, just do the normal breathing, but you do slow breathing, because if I'm just going very slowly, I'm breathing in, and then I'm going down, and I'm breathing down. And that slowed down my breathing.
So it's not good to always breathe with your diaphragm?
I think they say that at one point, like humans, probably that's the way you were breathing, and a lot of people can do that, and you can get to breathe that way. That takes a lot of practice. Mm-hmm. You can do it. I use it sometimes. I can be standing, or I can be, let's say, in traffic or something, stuck in traffic. I do the Dantian breathing to actually strengthening my belly muscles, It's like isometric exercise. So I breathe in, and when I breathe out, I crunch them, to actually do a workout without doing the crunches, to strengthen my muscles. But the normal, we don't normally breathe that way. We breathe the other with chest rising. Except for people that are in sports and things like that, they use it to increase lung capacity.
Yeah, that's what I'm learning about singing. Is they teach you need to use your diaphragm always when singing. So I thought, well, you should probably always use your diaphragm.
Exactly.
And eventually, you will just become second nature if you're intentional about it for long enough.
When I do Tai Chi, I use Dantian breathing, but I have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So as you're doing the practice, it takes a while, but singers do diaphragmatic breathing, divers, people, that's what they do and that's what they increase their lung capacity. So for a person that sings, they need to have a bigger lung capacity so they can sustain those high notes. So otherwise you run out of air, and that's what they do to increase their lung capacity, And so it's really beneficial now. But I show you also mindfulness breathing, which is just normal breathing, except it's a slow breathing. And you can do it, ideally it's nice to have a place where you can just retire yourself from a little corner. I would encourage you to find a place in your home that will be your sanctuary, your place where you feel that this is your refuge to be relaxed. And practice that, whether it's first thing in the morning or at the end of the night, and do a little Dantian breathing, or it can be outside or whatever is the place that you want to choose, and do that. But it doesn't have to be in a specific place in your home, your sanctuary. It can be, like I said, you're stuck in traffic and you can do it. Instead of getting upset, you can do that,
I had the road rage.
Yes.
When people are in deep sleep, or do they breathe differently than, is that more down here? Feel like really relaxed, or is there anything?
I don't think, I think your breath slow down, as you are sleeping, but I will not say, I really cannot tell you if it is that it becomes the Dantian breathing or the other one. I know that it is the breathing, but I know that if you pull your tongue up as well, that helps, with people with snoring, that it means that the tongue falls into the throat and it creates those noises. So that's one of them. And and then you can add things to it. You can, for example, some people do chanting. I like to, let's say I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to get myself back to relax and sleep. Sometimes I breathe in, and as I breathe out, whether it's in my head, I say a word. Sometimes I say peace. So I breathe in and I say peace. Breathe in and breathe out will be peace. And sometimes it's in my head. But that will block any thoughts when you do that. Somebody wanted to ask something?
I was just gonna say the difference between breathing through your nose and your mouth. Do you have any information on that? Or?
The way I was taught is that you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. I know that if you breathe a lot through your mouth, it can cause the dryness and things like that.
Yeah, I've heard it can raise your blood pressure too.
Exactly.
Breathing through your mouth.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, inhaling or exhaling. I think because I do a lot of mindfulness videos of the breathing, and it's usually inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth.
Yes. So there's
breathing out the mouth is fine, but I've heard breathing in through the mouth. I've heard it's raise your blood pressure.
That's what you mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and your nose filters the air because you have all the hairs.
That's the other thing is, you got you like you say, filters. All these little hairs that you have, they're all filters. So it decreases the amount of the environment toxins when you breathe through your nose and out.
I think the distinction is the inhaling and exhaling, because the whole process is breathing, and I think that's where people get confused.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's say for singing, I play music, so you can't inhale through your nose. There's not enough. Your nose really slows it down, which is why it's good for mindfulness. But if you're singing or playing an instrument, you have to inhale, and you use your diaphragm. You have to get your whole lungs in, but it'll be through your mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you're running, when I run, I breathe through my mouth, probably through my nose too,
Yeah.
but and my mouth.
When you're running.
Well, that was the thing that they taught in the book was that the Olympic athletes who were really good were breathing through their nose, and
Yes.
it made it so they could run farther, faster, and like that was like a huge breakthrough in the 40s. Like this guy discovered that if you breathe through your nose and you breathe out longer, it increases the oxygen in your blood, and then the athletes were able to like just completely dominate the thing for.
I coordinate my breathing with my steps.
Yeah.
Inhale on 3 steps and exhale on 2.
So we should check out this book.
Exactly. I think that there's different is what is it? What is the ultimate goal? You know, what you're trying to achieve, and then I think that there's benefits from both of them.
It's maybe been 4 or 5 years ago, I think there was a book out called Breath.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
And
Yeah.
it's really, really, really
Yeah.
interesting.
He talked.
Yeah, but covers a lot of this stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would like to reread that. It was kind of mind-blowing, the thing about the divers and stuff. I mean, it's more than just a lot of minutes. It's like approaching,
Oh yeah.
like 60 minutes. For some, I mean, it's pretty,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It amazed me.
Yeah.
I saw this lady that what is it? National
divers?
Geographic. Remember what is it? Limitless.
The free divers.
There was this lady that she was doing that basically what we call Dantian breathing, which is diaphragmatic breathing. And I don't know, before she went and did the diving, you can see her doing the. I mean, it was amazing. When she, when she breathed out, it's basically like her muscles were back in the,
Yeah,
in the back of her.
totally empty.
Exactly, completely empty, and she was able to dive. I don't know how many minutes, but that means like it's almost like impossible to think that somebody can be on the water for so long. But that's how they increase their lung capacity. You know, it's amazing.
I tried to challenge myself one time, and then I ended up sucking in a bunch of pool water. And it was real. I came up and I was like choking. Everyone's like, "Are you okay?" It was so bad.
Yeah. But I encourage you to do it, that if you feel that you are under stress, whatever, these days, even watching TV can be highly stressful, So if you feel for whatever reason under stress, just try that. Not the Dantian breathing, just the mindfulness breathing, whether it's box breathing, the 4-4-4, or that, or 4-7-8. And close your eyes and just concentrate in that. Whether I'm sitting, I'm being mindful, I can be feeling my lungs inflating and deflating, or I'm sitting here and I can feel my bottom touching the, this, or my feet touching the ground, whatever it is that you want to concentrate while you're doing it, it will help you to decrease the stress at that moment. And it's very helpful. I have patients that they use it to sleep, to aid in sleep, or whatever stressing them, they just do it, move themselves away from the situation and do it, and they say, it works.
We had somebody went to one of our offices and she did breath work. And she said everyone has their own breath. And she helps you figure out what your breath is that moves you. And when she came from out west, and she stayed there for about 1.5 years, and she started doing it.
And exactly, and people that does this, that do either yoga or Tai Chi and mindfulness, a lot of mindfulness, if you notice, they have this calmness. They're very calm, because they have been practicing and they know how to calm themselves, from whatever it is happening. So, but practice, and I think that it will be very helpful. It doesn't have to be something significant. I teach others that is, that you do, body scan, there's a lot of things. Even when you're eating, you can practice mindfulness eating, and be mindful as you're eating, because sometimes we eat so fast that we don't even hardly taste the flavor of the food. But that is one of my favorites. beside that doing mindfulness eating, and it's being present right there. The TV off, no cellular phone, and you're looking at the food that you're about to partake. And imagine where that food